Welcome to Education Today. I'm Chris Shavir of Armstrong High School in the Armstrong School District. Armstrong School District is very committed to the health and well-being of our students. Each school in the district has a wellness committee, and the program has a steering committee led by Devin Morgan, our wellness coordinator. Community leaders, parents, teachers, and school district administrators are all part of the committee. Tonight, we are going to talk about another very important part of the school district's wellness initiative, the Food and Nutrition Services Program. Ever wonder what is being served for breakfast and lunch in our district schools, or even how the menu is selected and why? We have with us tonight Luann Fee, the Director of the AHS-TV Food and Nutrition Services. Welcome to Education Today. Would you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, hello, and thank you for having me on your show today. I'm Luann Fee, as you said, and I am the Director of Food and Nutrition Services for the school district. I've been with this district 18 years, and I've been in school meal program for 35 years. I have a degree from WIUP in nutrition education and dietetics.
At the school district, you are responsible for lunch and breakfast programs. What does that entail?
Well, at Armstrong School District, we operate the National School Lunch Program, the National School Breakfast Program, the After-School Snack Program, and the Summer Food Service Program. So I'm responsible for making sure that all the regulations set by the Department of Education and the Department of Agriculture are followed. We are inspected by the health department twice a year in all our kitchens, so we have to be in code and we have to follow strict food safety guidelines. I'm proud of the fact that my staff is all certified in food safety, and we have 70 food service personnel in 8 schools. I'm responsible for their staffing and training. I write the menus and do the nutritional analysis of the menus. I write the specs and quotes for all the food and equipment, and a big part of my job is making sure that I meet the budget. We have a $3 million budget, and our revenue and our expenses have to balance. We serve over 500 meals a day. You talked about the Wellness Committee. I sit on that committee. I make sure that that policy is updated and that we enforce that policy.
Okay. When did school lunches start? And can you give us a brief history of that?
Mm-hmm. I find this interesting. Most people may not, but school lunch was started in 1946. President Harry Truman at that point passed the National School Lunch Act. And the act was put into place because a lot of young men and women who wanted to join the armed forces during World War II could not pass the health inspection. They were underweight and they suffered from a lot of vitamin deficiencies. So the government looked at a way that they could start a program that would meet the most amount of young Americans, reach them, and give them at least one healthy meal a day. In 1980, the federal reimbursement was slashed for the program, and to increase participation, schools started doing things like selling a lot of unhealthy snacks, and also they started frying foods to try to get students to eat. So in 2010, in an attempt to return to the original intentions of the program, Congress passed the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act. This allows the Department of Education to overhaul the school program and meet new nutrition standards. So schools now are required to serve meals that meet 1/3 of the dietary recommended allowance and keeping calories, fat, carbohydrates, and sodium within recommended ranges. In addition, we have to serve all whole grains, low-fat milk, good sources of dark green and red orange vegetables, and we even have to serve a serving of legumes weekly. You have any idea what that is?
No, what is legume?
It's a black kidney or garbanzo beans, beans that have protein.
Okay. We have heard that there are changes in school lunch guidelines under the Trump administration. Can you tell us about them?
Yes, they just came out, and I'd first like to say that no one can deny the importance of good nutrition for growing healthy minds, or the enthusiasm of the former First Lady Michelle Obama and her role in promoting the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act. But critics now claim that the program has produced meals that lead to food waste. And they claim that it's because the students don't like the low sodium or the whole grain option. So they've come up with a new ruling, and it's called menu flexibilities. I can't argue that there isn't waste in the program, there is. But overall, many studies show that students are eating much healthier since the Healthy Hunger-Free Act has come into place. The flexibilities allow districts, only if they choose, to make 3 changes, and that includes milk, whole grains, and sodium levels guidelines. The first change for the milk is the milk, and we will now be allowed to offer not just skim-flavored milk, but 1% flavored milk. So we'll be able to offer chocolate and strawberry 1% milk. The second flexibility, which is the biggest one, we will now only have half of the grains required to be whole grain. So the third one is then a gradual reduction in the final target of the restriction for sodium. And that's a target that we haven't reached yet. We're just going into that next year.
Okay. How will these retro changes affect our school lunches at Armstrong School District?
I think they'll have a positive effect. The final step in the act that would have gone into effect next year for the sodium levels would have meant that we probably would not have been able to serve soup next year. We started serving soup when the Hunger Free Kids Act came in because we needed to meet the calories, but we wanted not to have the fat. So instead of putting out a low-fat dessert, we chose soup. And I think the kids like it, and I hated to see that we would have to remove it. But I don't think we would have met the sodium level, even though we do purchase low-sodium products and we do have low-sodium recipes. I don't think we would have met it. But now with this flexibility, we'll be able to continue serving soup.
It seems we did an awful lot of work and made many changes just to have things turn around. How do you personally feel about the reversal of some guidelines?
Although it's frustrating to do, so much hard work and finally reach those targeted levels, we found recipes that we thought the kids would accept, and I think we made a lot of positive changes. I don't plan to reverse all of them, but I feel the flexibilities are conservative, and the changes we'll make due to flexibility should please our students. An example would be the grain flexibility. One of the favorite meals is a stromboli, but when we started putting the stromboli on a whole grain crust, we had a lot of complaints. Now we'll be able to go back to the regular crust, so I think, reasons like that should be make students happy. I want to sit down with a group of students, probably student council, and talk to them about what grains they would like to see mostly changed, and we'll work from there.
So what is new for lunch this school year at our district?
Well, we started a Build-A-Bowl this line. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the line offers rice, a choice of pork, chicken, or beef, and then the toppings are corn, salsa, tomatoes, lettuce, sour cream, and then the bowl served with a side of nacho chips and cheese. And that's basically our new item for this year.
The Build-A-Bowl is a line that is very similar. The Build-A-Bowl is a line is then very similar to the Chipotle restaurant?
Yeah, I confess I stole the idea from Chipotle.
What is the student's favorite lunch?
Looking at what we serve, prepare, and sold chicken tenders is still the #1 lunch, still the highest selling.
When we started 30 years ago, what was the student's favorite lunch, and has that changed a lot in 30 years?
It really hasn't changed a lot. Pizza was the favorite for many, many years. This is kind of fun. I had a little opportunity, well, I think it's fun, you may not. I was looking at typical school lunches over the years, and I found menus online that started as early as 1905, and that would have been before the program, and volunteers would have made the lunches at that point in some schools. But in 1905, a typical school lunch was Boston brown bread with cream cheese and nuts, a jam cake, a pear, and lemonade. How's that sound to you?
I'll eat anything. That sounds great.
Well, that's good to hear. In 1933, cream of corn soup, prune bread sandwich, celery, gingerbread cookies, and milk. What about that one?
Take out the soup and the prune bread and I'll eat it.
There we go. In 1940, this one sounds interesting. Egg and olive sandwich, corn muffin, tomato, baked apple, and milk.
Is it just a whole tomato? Or?
I think so.
Oh, man.
What do you think?
I think I'd eat that.
In 1950, this one's also interesting. Scrambled hamburger on bread, whole parsley potato, stewed tomatoes with bread cubes, canned cherries, and milk.
My question is, how do you scramble a hamburger?
I don't know. Maybe it has some egg in it. In 1960, this is sounding a little more like today. Ham barbecue, potato puffs, cheese wedge, stewed prunes, sugar cookie, and milk.
You can never go wrong with ham barbecue.
When I got into the 1960 menus, that's when I noticed things like pizza and burgers, things a lot more looking like school lunches of today.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. Stick around.
All your professors, all of them, they know that all it takes is one dreamer with passion, one person, and they hope in each of you that you might be that one who makes a longer lasting light bulb, who writes music for the ages, who reaches into the mind and discovers a new star and who can change the world of a fifth grader. We're gathered here to hope in you.
Hello, I'm Cindy McCrae, Director of Arc Manor Addiction Recovery Center. Arc Manor is committed to confidential quality services 24 hours a day, including fully licensed residential, partial hospital, and outpatient treatment programs. With 39 years of experience in addiction treatment, Arc Manor puts an emphasis on the needs of special populations including women, co-occurring disorders, and adolescents. For more information, call 724-548-7607 or 800-323-1333. Brought to you by the Armstrong, Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
The brain is a remarkable organ. It's almost infinite in its capacity. Its ability to reach its full potential is limited by only one thing: the heart. For if the heart isn't fully engaged in what you're doing, if you have no drive, no passion, the brain will simply go through the motions. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Vince Mercuri, Executive Director of the Open Door. Worried, scared, confused, not sure where to turn for help? The Open Door, a behavioral health organization, has a full range of addiction counseling services and mental health crisis intervention services which may be able to help. Call 724-465-2605 or 1-877-333-2470. The Open Door, steps towards hope, courage, and recovery. Brought to you by the Armstrong, Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
We're back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. We're talking about Armstrong School District's food and nutrition programs with Luann Feed. At our elementary schools, all students can enjoy a free breakfast and lunch. Tell us how that works.
The elementary schools are on a program called Community Eligibility, and we're on that program based on the fact that the number of students on SNAP, TANF, and Medicaid, if at least 40% of the students in a school who are enrolled in a school or have those benefits, then they qualify for the Community Eligibility Program. Now that doesn't mean that a school can afford the program. The higher the number, above 40%, the better they can make the program work. At our elementary schools, we're at 47%, so that number's pretty low, and it's very tight budgets. We have to look and monitor that program, our program, closely and make sure we're not losing money every year.
Very good. So why do elementary students eat for free, but not high school students?
There's two reasons. So the high school does not reach the threshold for the numbers, so we don't qualify. But the other reason would be that high school, we serve them more food. They have a higher calorie requirement. So we get the same reimbursement for an elementary meal as we do a secondary. We wouldn't be able to afford to cover the extra cost.
Do you still have students at elementary schools that pack their lunches?
We do, about 20%, but that means that 80% eat the lunches, so that's very high compared to the state average.
Can students that pack their lunches get a free milk?
No. A school can run the lunch program or the free milk program. So if they just come in and take a milk, they have to pay for it. However, if they pick up a fruit and a vegetable and a milk, that is considered a lunch. So we tell parents about that, and if they encourage their students to do that, we ask them to also encourage them to pick up only what they'll eat, choose what they would eat, because we don't want them to have the waste.
Okay. So can you give us some information about the summer food service program?
We've been running the summer food service program for as long as I've been here. We have sites are not yet confirmed for this year, but they'll be across the district. We'll also be packing bag lunches for the YMCA. Any child 18 or under can go to a site and get a free lunch. The sites will be listed in the paper, and we always send a flyer home at the end of the school year.
So can anyone under the years of 18 of age get a free lunch if they go to one of the sites?
They can. If they're 18 or under, they can go. They don't have to fill an application or even show ID that they're 18 or under. They just show up, and if they look under 18, then we give them a lunch.
Can parents purchase a lunch?
They can. It's $3.75, and we have a lot of parents that do come in and purchase lunch, because if they have 2 or 3 kids, 4 of them are eating for $3.75.
Are the lunches similar to meals served during the school year?
They are at most sites very similar. There's more hot sandwiches, less foods like spaghetti and meatballs. The YMCA does the cold bag lunch, and that's either a cold sandwich or salad.
Is there anything else you would like to add for the benefit of our viewers?
I'd just like to say that it's an honor working in this district with so many wonderful teachers and administrators, and most especially the great families and students. Mark Twain said, if you find a job you enjoy doing, you never have to work a day in your life. And I've been very lucky to find that type of job for myself.
Well, that's all for our show today. I'd like to thank our guest, Lan Fee, ASD's Food Nutrition Coordinator, for taking time out of her busy schedule to talk about the district's food and nutrition program. Our thanks go out to the TV production students of Armstrong High School, led by their teacher, Mr. Don Swanson. They were our film crew today. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated information about the district, and have a great week.